Hello everyone, welcome to Voxel. So in this video we're gonna discuss section 3 of 4th test of GT book 19th. We have already discussed section 1 and section 2 of this particular book. If you haven't watched those videos, I strongly recommend you to watch them, but after watching this. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So first we're gonna read the title of that passage. So it says divided opinions about letting farmland return to its natural state. So this paragraph may contain information about different people and their opinions on letting farmland return to its natural state. So before the particular land was used for farming, whatever its state was, we have to let it return to that particular prior state. Basically land where there are a lot of grass, maybe trees or other sort of vegetation. So but the opinions are divided, like some people are in favor of it, some people will be against it. So let's see. Maybe this information is given in the text, maybe not, but what it will do is it will help us to like activate, to channel our vocabulary, so that when we will read the paragraph we will not feel out of place or we will not feel bored, as I have heard many students complain. So now what we're gonna do is not gonna read the paragraph just yet. First we will read the type of questions. We will see what kind of questions we are dealing with for this particular paragraph. We'll make a strategy and then we'll start reading the text. So first we will see the questions. We have questions number 28 to 40. Okay, so we have these questions. So first we'll see the type of questions 28 to 30. So we have to write one word only for these. So basically they are blanks and we have to write only one word. Knepp Castle Estate. Okay, so wherever this particular location is, we will be given the answers there. 31 to 36 we have to match list of people. So let me change the color. So we have to match the list of people. So there are 7 letters. Okay, there are 6 letters, sorry, 6 people given, but the what is this? Okay, 7, sorry about that. There are 7 A to G, there are 7 letters given, 7 list of people given, and we will have to mark in these 6 questions with the letters. So obviously if you look closely we have 7 people, but how many questions? 6 questions. So definitely one option will not be used, and there is no mention of NB here, like you may use N letter more than once. There is uh, there is excuse me, sorry about that, there is no mention of that. So obviously we will not repeat, we will not have to repeat any letter. Okay, then we have MCQs. We have to write pick one option out of these four, A, B, C or D. So let's see first question in the 5th paragraph. Okay, so we know the location of these particular, because these questions are almost always in order, like you will find the answer 37, then 38, then 39 and then 40. Okay, 40 is written in the final paragraph, so we don't have to worry about that. Until 5th paragraph we will not get the answer of 37. So 5th paragraph is 1 2 3 4 5. So this is our 5th paragraph. So we have marked some sort, we will do some sort of marking so that we can understand where our 5th paragraph is. So what we will do is, for list of people, wherever we will find a particular name, we will read the questions then, and then we will solve this. So what we're going to do is we're going to read the questions now. We will try to understand what every question contains, so that when we find list of person, when we find any name, we will be able to match the information easily. So 31st question: some people are against rewilding as it reduces the amount of crops that could provide much needed nourishment. So some people are against, sorry about that, let me change the color. Some people are against rewilding, so they are not in favor of rewilding. Why? Because it reduces the amount of crop. So the crop, obviously, if you are not using the land for farming and if you are allowing it to return to its prior state, so the amount of crop will reduce that is required for nourishment. 32nd, it may not be easy to get city residents to take part in rewilding. Not easy. City residents take part in this particular process. So to convince city residents will not be easy. Rewilding does not necessarily lead to a landscape thickly covered in trees. So rewilding doesn't mean, not necessarily mean that the landscape will be covered in trees, thickly covered in trees, like there will be a lot of trees. It doesn't mean automatically there will be a lot of trees or a lot of other kind of vegetation from which you can earn money or something like that. 34th, it is acceptable to turn fields which do not yield many crops into natural spaces for people to enjoy. Okay, so they're saying that it is perfectly acceptable that we should turn fields that obviously they are not producing many crops, so that they can be turned into natural spaces where people can come and enjoy, like picnics, make them picnic spots or some sort of sanctuaries or zoos, things like that. Okay, so that people can come and enjoy there. 35, the support of people living in the area is needed to make the authorities take rewilding seriously. So we need local support so that the authorities take rewilding seriously. 36, there is evidence that people get used to the idea of rewilding with time. So there is enough evidence, we have proof that people they get used to the idea of rewilding with time. Like maybe in the beginning they will not like it, they will oppose it, maybe probably, but with time, with the passage of time, like after few months or few years, whatever the time is, they will get used to it, they will get accustomed to the idea, they will warm up to the idea of rewilding. So okay, so we will find the information, we will do these questions. Whenever we find a name, we will mark that name in different color, in basically in yellow. So when if you're doing pen and paper, you should mark that accordingly, and if you're doing on computer, you should mark it accordingly. So now we will read the blank, first blank here. Let's see if we are able to find this information first or not, because we know but whenever the name arrives we will do this, but this questions it starts from the fifth paragraph, so we don't have any like advantage of reading it just yet. So we will read this question, otherwise we don't have any other thing to do. About 10 years ago, sorry about that, what happened here, I don't know about that. About 10 years ago, so wherever there is mention of 10 years ago, so 10 years they can paraphrase it as like a decade, okay, something like that. About 10 years ago, the decision was taken to rewild the farmland at Knepp Castle. So there was a decision that was made so that we have to rewild the farmland at Knepp Castle now. But we have to tell them what is happening now. So 10 years ago the decision was made, but at present what is happening, the dash that used to be grown there has disappeared. So the dash that used to be grown there, so from this we can deduce that the answer should be some sort of crop has disappeared, and the countryside is more like parts of something or okay, some place, and that particular countryside it looks like more like parts of some particular place. So the first we will have to find what kind of crop has disappeared, and first on before that we need to find 10 years ago. Close to London's Gatwick Airport is Knepp Castle Estate, owned by Charlie Barrell. It is an intensive 3,500-acre farm that has been rewilded, that is allowed to return to its natural uncultivated state. So what rewilding means? It is allowing the land to return to its natural uncultivated sorry about that, natural uncultivated state. After barely a decade, okay, so barely a decade, basically about 10 years ago, so here is our location. Nature has come back astonishingly quickly. So has come back, basically this means present. Neat fields of maize have been replaced with the landscape that resembles the typical grasslands of Africa. Okay, so our answer is in this particular sentence. In fact, both the answers are in this particular sentence, and if you know the rule, you will get around 10 seconds for each question. And for these, and if you need more time, you can pause the video, and when you are ready with your answer, you can continue. But there are two questions here, but the sentence is quite short, so I will give you about 15 seconds for these answers, and your 15 seconds start now. Okay, time's up. The answer to 28th is, let me write here. Yes, can you tell me the answer? Yes, maize. And the answer to 29th, have you found it? Let me do this. Yes, Africa. So let me mark the answers first, then I will tell you why it is maize and Africa. Answers to these two questions. This is question 28. Question number 29. So here they're saying now the dash that used to grow there has disappeared. So here they're saying that neat fields of something like maize have been replaced. So if something is replaced by something else, that means that particular thing is no more present, or in other words, disappear. Okay, and the countryside is more like, so more like just mean here they are referred to the landscape resembles typical grasslands of, so resembles mean it looks like, so it's more like, something looks more like parts of, so grasslands, basically parts of Africa. I hope it is clear. Okay, moving on to the next question, number 30th. The hedges surrounding the fields have been allowed to expand, and deer can be seen running among the wildflowers. The estate hosts the large number of dash of a particular species in the whole country, and the bird numbers are increasing. All these changes have happened remarkably quickly. So they're saying that the hedges surrounding the fields, they are allowed to expand. Okay, and deer, we can see deer running among wildflowers. The state hosts the largest number of, so the largest number of something, so I believe there should be some kind of animal here of a particular species. So there's a, this is a particular species, like basically let's just say the species is lion or cat, so number of lions of particular species, basically. Okay, so some kind of animal should be here in the whole country, and the bird numbers are increasing. All these changes have happened remarkably quickly. So let's see. The original narrow clipped hedges that edged the farmland are now 8 meters wide. So basically the original, they were narrow, now they are 8 meters wide. Basically it means they have expanded. And deer race through ragwort, thistles and other weeds in the meadow. So here deer racing through wild flowers. So there are these are names of wildflowers. The state boasts more of the unusual purple emperor butterflies than anywhere in else in Britain. It's also thought to be the only place where Britain's fastest declining birds, turtle doves, are multiplying. So birds are increasing, but as rewilding blossoms, so do controversy. So this is as okay. So our location to this is from, obviously, in these particular sentences I will not tell you exactly where, so you will have to tell me. So you have about 10 seconds for this and your time starts now. Okay, time's up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write the answer here now, and the answer is butterflies. Let me mark the answer here first. Okay, now I'll tell you why. Where it is, if you have found the answer, congratulations, very good. I am proud of you. But can you tell me where it is written the largest number of? Yes, let's see here. More of these butterflies than anywhere else. So basically, any than anywhere else in Britain. So basically, it means the largest number. So no place else in Britain has these many numbers of butterflies, emperor butterflies. Now we cannot write purple emperor butterflies or emperor butterflies. Why? Because we have to write only one word. If you write emperor butterflies, your answer will be marked as incorrect. Though it is correct because like generally speaking, the answer is purple butterflies because they are the type of butterflies like of particular species, purple emperor. Okay, but because the answer is one word only and they have written particular species after the blank, so you cannot write emperor butterfly. So emperor butterfly is a particular species of butterflies. I hope it is clear. So here they are said birds numbers are increasing, numbers are multiplying. Clear? So we haven't found any name. So what happened here is we have found all the three answers. We need to say 28 to 30 we have completed in the first paragraph itself. So now we have to focus on 31 to 36, and then from the fifth paragraph onwards 37 to 40. Now, but we haven't read any name in this paragraph, right? So we will move forward. Second paragraph. Let me change the color first. In Wales, one ecologist says their concept can't even be mentioned to farmers. So one ecologist is saying that we cannot mention this particular concept to farmers in Wales. Okay, even the harmless beaver is the subject of fierce debate. While it was recognized as a native animal in Scotland, last year beavers reintroduced in southwest England roam free only on a government trial. So they are saying that even the harmless beaver is a subject of intense debate, fierce debate, meaning to say intense debate. Okay, where it is recognized as a native animal. Still, there is a lot of debate over it. So in southwest England, it is only roaming on government trial. For us, it is strange to see the British struggling with the beaver. Come on, we have thousands of them. Dutch ecologist Leo Lenaerts, so here is the name, told a rewilding conference. Lenaerts says that many Dutch objected to nature development 30 years ago, but rewilding principles are now mainstream. So he's saying that many Dutch people they objected to development, like they didn't want this thing to happen. But when 30 years ago, but now it is the mainstream. So people are okay with it in simpler terms. So let's see if there is any person named Leo here. Charlie Burrell here. Leo Lenaerts. Let's see. You have about 10 seconds to tell me if there is any answer in this particular paragraph like if the Leo Leonard's answer is here or not, and your time starts now. Okay, time's up. So again, if you need more time, you can pause the video, and when you are ready with your answer, you can continue. So we're gonna read the questions together and see if there is any answer here or not. Some people are against rewilding as it reduces the amount of crops that could provide much needed nourishment. Can this be our answer? B option. B. Yeah. Can this be our answer? No. Though there is many Dutch objected, basically they are against, but there is nothing about reduce the amount of crop. So this cannot be our answer. 32. It may not be easy to get city residents to take part in rewilding. No, there is no mention of city residents. Rewilding does not necessarily lead to landscape thickly covered in trees. Nothing mentioned about trees or few trees or something like that. 34th, it is acceptable to turn fields which do not yield many crops into natural spaces for people to enjoy. Nothing about that, like turning farmland into natural space by using rewilding process, nothing like that. The support of people living in the area is needed to make authorities to take rewilding seriously. Nothing about governments or local people is mentioned. Obviously this cannot be our answer. 36, there is evidence that people get used to the idea of rewilding with time. Is there any mention that with time people get accustomed to the idea of rewilding? Yes, it is our answer. Let me mark here first, then I will tell you why it is our answer if you are not able to identify it till yet. Let me mark the location first. This is question number 36. So here they're saying people get used to the idea of rewilding with the time. So they are saying that 30 years ago people objected, many people objected, like they didn't like the idea 30 years ago, but now it is a mainstream idea, like it is a common thing. People are doing it like all over the place. So that's Leo Leonard. So let me mark this so we know we have done this particular person. Okay, so Leo Leonard's we have completed. Okay, now we're gonna read the next paragraph and see if there is any other person here. In Britain, the rewilding movement started by writer and environmental activist George Monbiot. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. Let me see if there is person George. Yes, George is there. Is popularly seen. What is happening? Okay, activist George is popularly seen to seek the return of large carnivores, bears, wolves, and lynx. In practice, it is returning more modest herbivores like ponies and deer to the countryside. So the rewilding movement that the writer started, George started, he wanted to return. He wanted the return of large carnivores like bears, wolves, and lynx. But in practice, in reality, we are returning the modest herbivores like ponies and deer to the countryside. For decades, ecologists believed that the end result of allowing a landscape to run wild would be dense forest and a mass extinction of sun loving wildflowers and butterflies. So, here the sentence is saying that for decades, many ecologists believed that if you allow landscape to run wild, it would be a dense forest and a mass extinction of this. So the butterflies and some flowers, wildflowers who like sun, because if the land is covered by thick forest, sunlight will not be able to reach the earth or all the parts of that particular place. So the sun loving flowers will die out. But this belief has been demolished by Dutch ecologist Franz Vera. So, but this belief, whatever the person thought, this belief was not true and it was demolished by this particular person. Since 1980s, Vera has introduced wild cattle, horses and deer to rewilded marshland and provided natural grazing and proved that natural grazing creates a more dynamic landscape, a constantly changing pattern of open glades and wooden grooves. So he has done this. He has reintroduced, like he introduced wild cattle, horses, and deers, and that he proved that natural grazing, because these animal graze obviously, it create more dynamic landscape. Okay, so we have two people here, George Monbiot and France Vera. So if you can tell, you have some time to tell me whether there is any answer in this or not. George Monbiot is C and France Vera is D. Either C or D. Is there an answer in this or not? And the time starts now. Okay, time's up. Now let's read it together. First, we'll talk about George Monbiot. So he wanted to introduce carnivores but introduced herbivores. And then Franz Vera, he told that the belief that there would be a dense forest and mass extinction of this is not true because it has been demolished by this. And he introduced many natural grazing animals like horses, cattle, and deers. Okay, some people are against rewilding as it reduces the amount of crop. There is nothing mentioned about amount of crop. There is mention of extinction of sunflower loving wildflowers and butterflies, but nothing about amount reduction in the amount of crops. 32. It may not be easy to get city residents to take part in rewilding. Nothing about city residents. All right, so it cannot be our answer. 33. Rewilding does not necessarily lead to a landscape thickly covered in trees. So, is there any mention of that there will not be a dense forest, something like that? There will not be a lot of trees. Yes, there is. And who is saying that? France Vera. So, France Vera is D. Let me write here first, then I will explain. Tell you the location where it is written. D. And we have completed this also. Okay, where it is written here. So, for decades, ecologists believed the end result of allowing the landscape to run wild would be dense forest. And but here, let me remove this. What happened here? Okay, but this belief was demolished by ecologist Franz Vera. So whatever the belief was, what the belief was that there will be or there would be a dense forest, but it was demolished. So it was demolished just means it was this belief was not true. So what was the belief? Dense forest. So if it is not true, that just means there will not be dense forest. Clear? So not necessarily a dense forest. Question 33. Let's read further. Let's see if George is the answer here or not. 34th. It is acceptable to turn fields which do not yield many crops into natural spaces. There is no mention of that. 35. The support of local people to to make authorities take rewilding seriously. Nothing mentioned about local people or governments. So our answer to on this paragraph is question number 33. Let's read further. In the Scottish Highlands, rewilding is taking a different form as large landowners restore ancient pine forest. But David Ballery, former Scotland Director of Rewilding Britain, cautions that rewilding in Scotland will only be championed by policymakers and politicians when it is led by local communities. I believe it's quite straightforward. Let's see if, yeah, David Ballery. So here it is E option. So let me mark here. So you have around 10 seconds to tell me the answer, and I believe it should be quite straightforward. Oh, why I'm marking it right now. So this is our location, and your time starts now. Okay, time's up. So let's read the questions together. Question number 31. Some people are against rewilding because it reduces the amount of crop. No, there is no talk about that. Easy to get city residents, nothing about city residents. Obviously, field into natural spaces so people can enjoy. There is nothing about enjoyment or activities of enjoyment, something like that. 35. The support of the people living in the area is needed to make the authorities take rewilding seriously. People living in the area. Is this the answer? Yes, it is. It was quite straightforward. Let me first mark the location here. So where it is written, how we can say this is the answer. So it is written, rewilding will only be championed. So champion basically mean appreciated, reckoned, or you okay, or taken seriously by policymakers and politicians. So that means authorities when it is led by local communities, people living in the area. So if you have support of these people, if they are leading this particular charge, so obviously they are supporting this particular novel cause or something like that, so politicians and policymakers of that particular place will take it seriously. So E option, David Ballary. So, oh, sorry about that, let me mark it again. Okay, so we have three and we have only three questions remaining from here. Now here, from here we have to take care about our MCQs also. Let's read the MCQ and then we will read the information as well. In the fifth paragraph, the writer points out that Burrell had clear financial reasons for rewilding his farm. So, if this particular person it has clear financial reasons to rewild his farm, this will be our answer. Is worried that his land now looks extremely untidy. If is the person worried that his land is now looking extremely untidy, this will be the answer if that is the case. C, has considerably increased the money he makes from his farm. So the amount of money, the amount of profit increased. D, was initially guided by other people who had let their land go wild. So he was initially guided by other people, though those who have let their land go wild, we need to say who have rewilded their land before him, they told him or they taught him to do this particular thing. Let's see. For Burrell, rewilding has been a pragmatic way to revive the struggling family farm. So they're saying that it was like rewilding is a real practical way to revive his struggling family farm. Ecotourism there makes as much profit as his conventional farm did. So the ecotourism it is making as much money as his conventional farm did. Knepp's unproductive soil meant Burrell could not compete with globalized food production. So, because of the unproductive soil, it just means that he could not compete with the globalized food production. So, his land could not keep up with the process. His profits may be steady while conventional dairy and cattle farm incomes fall dramatically, but no farmers have yet followed his example. But they're saying that no other farmer has yet followed his example because he is the first one. So it takes a new eye to look at this and say that's beautiful rather than go just that's just a real mess, says Burrell. Other farmers may have a moral attitudes towards it too. Why are you stopping food production? Many criticize rewilding for abandoning productive farmland when world's population is growing. Okay, so I your answer should be from here to here. Okay, let me do this. Your answer should be of 37th question should be from here to here, and you have about 10 seconds to tell me the answer whether it is A, B, C or D, and your time starts now. Okay, time's up. We're gonna read the answers together. First, I'm gonna mark the answer for this, and the answer is A, B, C, or D. Which one you have chosen? Yes, A. Our answer is A. Let me write here. So, why it is A? So, here it is written clear financial reasons for rewilding because ecotourism makes as much money and this. Okay, let me do this. Uh, So here first I will explain to you, then I will mark the location. Here they're saying ecotourism makes as much profit as his conventional farm did, and now the soil is unproductive, and obviously his farm cannot compete with the globalized food production. So obviously his income will decrease. So obviously there were clear financial reasons. Okay, now why B option is not our answer. Let me do tell you also this why others are not our option, because there is nothing about untidy. There is no mention like his land looked untidy or something like that, and he wasn't happy with this. There is no mention. Okay, his money actually decreased. Here it is written, while conventional farm income falls dramatically, but they're saying that money he makes from his farm increased. It is opposite, decreased. And last, guided by other people, they're saying he was guided by other people, but here they're clearly said no other people or no other farmer yet followed his example. So meaning to say he is the first one, or he was the first one. So there was no like chance of other people telling him, because he took the first step, initial step. So he will tell other people, not the other way around. I hope it is clear why 37th A option is our answer. Now we have read about something about Burrell. If this is our, yes, Charlie Burrell. So again, you have about 10 seconds to tell me if 31, 32, or 33. If any one out of these three is our answer here or not. And your time starts now. So I'm going to tell you location. Just a minute for this. From here to here. Okay, time's up. Let's read the questions together and see whether there is any answer or not. Some people are against rewilding as it reduces the amount of crops that could provide much nourishment. Is there any mention of people are against rewilding because the amount of crop will reduce? Yes, there is. So our answer here is A option. Let me recheck. Yes, Charlie Burrell. Where it is written here, many criticize for abandoning. Let me mark the location. So this is Burrell. Question number 31. So here they're saying many criticize rewilding for abandoning productive farmland. So productive farmland, if you're abandoning productive farmland, obviously the amount of crop that you produced or that you grow will not be available because you are not growing anymore. So the amount of crop will reduce, the amount of food will reduce when the world population is growing. So to feed the or to give the much needed nourishment to the people. Obviously we need food to nourish ourselves, to fulfill our nourishment. So that is why this is our answer, question number 31. Hope it is clear. Moving on to the next paragraph. First we will see the next question. What does Helmer say about young people and the land? First, we will find the location. Helmer say about young people and the land. Walter Helm. Okay, this is our person. Director of Rewilding Europe has sees no conflict between food production and rewilding. Europe is heading for a future of food produced more intensively in fewer areas, releasing less productive land for rewilding. He says. So this person is saying that Europe is now heading toward a future where food will be produced in fewer areas, but it will be produced more intensively, and the less productive land will be like left for rewilding. Farming is being done by fewer and fewer farmers on a larger scale on the best soils. So we are doing farming on the best soils, but the number of people is decreasing. They leave the less profitable lands to become adventure land for an increasingly urban population. So what they are doing there, they are leaving the less profitable lands. Obviously, when the land yield or productivity is not that high, you will not be able to get enough yield to get a lot of profit. So now they are leaving those less profitable lands so that they can be turned into adventure land for urban people. Okay, so s- this is our location. So first what we're going to do is we're going to read the option and see if there is something here or not. They want there is nothing about young people, I believe. Yeah, there is nothing about young people, so there is no need to read it. So there is all about land, agricultural land, but nothing about young people. They have talked about urban population, but not specifically young people. So there is no, we will read the option, but I don't think so it will match here. They want to leave it and find work in the city. Okay, so the young people don't want to do farming and they want to work in the city. Many want to take over running their family farms. So many they want to take over running their family farms. They have developed new ways of interacting with it. Developed new ways of interacting. Many are interested in building businesses on farmland. So many are in. They want to build businesses on farmland. There is nothing about land and young people like this. So obviously this is not our location. But let's see. Water Helmer. So is there any answer of the question number 32 and 34? Is there any answer in this particular paragraph? You have some time for this and your time starts now. Okay, time's up. Let's read the questions together. 32. It may not be easy to get city residents to take part in rewilding. Can this be our answer? No. Why? Yeah, this is there is some distractor word like increasing urban population. Let me change the color. So there is mention about urban population, but there is no mention that it is difficult for them to get city resident to take part in rewilding. So they're just saying you should convert this land into an adventure land so that people, urban people can come there and enjoy with their families. But there is nothing about taking part. Like it is not easy to convince city residents to take part in this particular project. So this can be our answer. 34th, it is acceptable to turn fields which do not yield many crops into natural spaces for people to enjoy. Just 1 second, guys. Somebody's at the door. Just give me a few seconds. Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry about the delay. So where were we? What were we doing? Yeah, 34th question. We were reading 34th question, I believe. It is acceptable to turn fields which do not yield many crops into natural spaces for people to enjoy. Is there anything mentioned about this? Yes. So it is. So Wouter Helmer. So this is option number F. Let me write here where it is written. Yes, here. They leave less profitable lands, basically do not yield many crops, obviously, to become adventure land for increasingly urban population. So that people can enjoy. Obviously, adventure land where people can enjoy. So this is our question number 34. I hope it is clear. So we have only one left, number 32. And we have two people, George and Elaine. So George we have read before, but maybe the name may be repeated. Okay, it can be. So let's read the next paragraph. Helmer says, so let's see if there is anything about Helmer. Helmer says there is no point in seeking to feed the world with traditional organic farming because there is no one to do the labor. So he is saying that it is pointless to seek to feed the world with the traditional organic farming because there is no one to do the labor. So there is no one wants to do the hard labor to grow the organic food. When he asked Dutch students who wants to farm, none raised their hands. They have completely different relationship to nature, to their parents or grandparents. So when he asked students, so who are students? Students are young people. So let's see, this is our location. So who are students? Students are young people, and Helmer say what about them and land. So who wants to farm? Nobody raised their hands. None raised their hands. Why? Because they have different relationship to nature than their parents or grandparents. So their nature, their interaction with nature is entirely different from their parents or their grandparents. They are not fighting with it on a daily basis. On one hand, they are disconnected from nature, but on the other hand, they are becoming more relaxed with nature. It's hunting and gathering, but hunting with the camera and gathering experiencing. So now they are hunting with camera and they are gathering experiencing. They are not hunting and gathering in the traditional sense, like hunting animals and gathering for like religious purposes or just to like for leisure activities basically. So they are not doing like that. They are hunting with their cameras. They are taking pictures of natural beauties or sceneries, whatever they want to take pictures of, and they're gathering new experiences. The part of the countryside which is not used for intensive farming starts to serve all these new urban needs. So again, that particular part that is not used for intensive farming, it serves these new needs. So I believe capturing or gathering experience. So this is our location. Obviously, let me do this. Let me make it a bit easier for you. So our answer should be from mm, here to here. Now, you have about 10 seconds to tell me the answer of question number 38, whether it's A, B, C, or D, and your time starts now. Okay, time's up. Now let's read the options together and see which one is the correct. First, let me mark the correct option, then it will be easier for me to explain to you. Which option have you marked? And the correct answer to this is A, B, C, or D. Which have you marked? Yes, C option. C is our answer. Now I'm going to change the color. So let's see why C is our answer and others are not. Okay, where it is written, first let me do this. Question number 38. So here it is written they have completely different relationships. So they have developed new ways of interacting with the land, nature. So basically here nature refers to the land. And if I go in depth from here to here, I hope it is clear. So why others options are not our answer? Let's see that also. They want to leave it and find work in city. There is no mention of their desire to work in the city. So it cannot be our answer. B, many want to take over running their family farms. So they are not. None raised their hands. So here it is said, no one raised their hand. So this cannot be our answer. So it is not possible that they want to take over their family business. D, many are interested in building businesses on farmlands. Again, they are not interested in this. They want to gather experience, click photographs. Nothing about building business on their farmland. Okay, so this is the way of development. So they want to click photographs and gather experience. I hope it is clear. Moving on to 39th question. Ted Green is particularly concerned that, okay, so wherever Ted Green will be written, our answer will be there. So let's see Helmer, and if there is any answer here or not. We have done Helmer, so obviously it cannot be repeated. And we will will have to find two names only. First is George and second is Elaine. 39th. Ted Green is particularly concerned with. So wherever we will read Ted Green, we will read it again. That we will read the options then, because only then we will find our answer. Yet some environmentalists worry how rewilding connects with urban populations. The challenge is how to make rewilding an issue that people in their ordinary lives can take action on, says Elaine Gillian of Friends of the Earth. She thinks it is great for engaging people in nature but doubts whether it is seen as important in large urban areas like Birmingham. Sorry about that. Birmingham. Okay. So here we haven't read about Ted Green, but we have read here Elaine Gillian. So what Elaine is saying, that the challenge is how to make rewilding an issue that like people can connect on. Okay, people can take action on, and she think it is great for engaging people in nature, but doubt whether it is important, seen as an important thing in large urban areas. So let's see G option. Okay. So can you tell me if it is the answer, G is the answer for this or not? And you have about 10 seconds to tell me that. This is your paragraph, whether the answer is here or not, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up. Yes, this is our answer. Obviously, it was quite clear. G. But where it is written that it may not be easy to do this. First, here she is talking about the challenge is how rewilding people can take action on, and then here she is saying that she thinks that it is great for engaging people. uh, Let me do this, but doubts whether it is seen as an important thing in urban areas like Birmingham. Oh, sorry about that. What is happening here? Yeah, question 32. So if it is not easy, so urban areas, city residents. Not easy, it is whether it is seen as important or not, so that it will be our challenge. I hope it is clear. Moving, so all the questions we have done, A, G, D, F, E, B. Yeah, all the questions are completed here, and let me mark. Okay, so I have marked with the incorrect color. Okay, so this is our question number 32. Now moving on to this next. So we have only two questions left and two paragraphs left. So we have to find Ted Green first. Rewilders argue that reducing flood risk for cities is one practical way rewilding can enhance urban life. Ted Green. Okay, so we have found Ted Green, founder, president of this. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to read the options so that we can understand what kind of information we are looking for. Ted Green is particularly concerned that there are increasing problems with water pollution in cities. So, what this person is concerned with, increasing problems with water pollution in cities. B. Money needs to be invested to create more dams across rivers. So he is concerned that we need like money. Uh, Sorry about that. We need money. Why? To invest to create more dams across rivers. So that this is his concern. Modern agricultural method mean rain washes away productive soil. So if productive soil deterioration is his concern, so this will be our answer. D. More barriers are needed to prevent river flooding domestic homes. So, if we need more barriers so that we can protect our homes from flooding, this will be our answer. Let's see what his concern is. Ted Green, founder, president of the Ancient Tree Forum, believes that intensive farming can worsen flash flooding and cause fertile earth to be swept downriver and out to sea. So, what his concern is that where it is written that intensive farming. Sorry about that, I don't know what's happening to the mouse right now. That intensive farming, it can worsen the flash flooding and it can cause fertile earth to be swept down river and out to sea. The land may belong to the landowner, but the soil must belong to the nation, says Green. So he's saying that obviously the land can or may belong to the landowner, but the soil belongs to the nation. Like the soil is not the property of the landowner. When you see people cleaning out their houses after floods, you don't see them removing water, you see them removing mud. It's no longer an engineering problem, it's a farming problem. So he's saying that obviously when you see people clearing their houses after floods, they are not removing water, but what they are removing, they are removing mud that has been swept away from the soil. Okay, so this is not a engineering problem, it has become a farming issue, farming problem. So this is our paragraph and you have some time to tell me the answer, and your time starts now. Okay, time's up. So which is the answer? Let me mark the answer first. The answer is A, B, C or D. Yes, C option. So let me mark here. Question 39. Okay, why other options are not correct? First, I will tell you why C is our answer. So here they're saying modern agriculture method mean rain washes away productive soil. Here it is an intensive farming. It can cause fertile earth to be swept down river. So swept down river washes away basically. Fertile earth is washed away. Productive soil, fertile earth. Okay, so A option, there is no amount mention of increasing problems with water pollution in cities only. So they are talking about flooding of homes. So more dams, nothing about that. And obviously there is mention of flooding of domestic homes or flooding of homes, but there is no mention of more barriers are needed to do this. So he's saying it is not an engineering problem, but it's a farming problem. So if it is not an engineering problem, so barriers are not an issue. So it's farming is our issue, main issue. Clear? Let's do the last question, 40th. In the final paragraph, what point is made about rewilding? So we have to tell which what is the point that is made about rewilding in our final paragraph. A option, it will be difficult to organize effectively in large expanses of the countryside. So difficult to organize effectively large expanses on like large areas of countryside. It may attract so much public interest that smaller projects get forgotten, attract so much attention, smaller forgotten, like only people will focus on this and other projects will be forgotten. C, it has caused problems for certain types of animals and insects in Britain. So problems, certain types of animals and insects in Britain. It may be a trend that will lose its popularity quite quickly. So lose popularity quite quickly. So you have to be very careful between B and D. So B is saying that it will become so big people will forget everything else. D is saying that it will fade away quickly. Okay, let's see what our answer is. Some conservationists worry, however, that rewilding could replace the traditional protection of rare species on small nature reserves. So they are saying that rewilding it may what is happening? Okay, it may rewilding may replace the the traditional protection of rare species on small nature reserves. If rewilding really takes off, there's a risk people will say, oh, we don't need to do any of that old stuff. So they're saying that if rewilding becomes popular, people will forget or people will shirk away from doing the old stuff, says Matt Shaldo, chief executive of Bug Life. But we still have habitat fragmentation and species in tiny places, and we have to take care of them even if you have some areas made bigger for wildlife. Whatever happens, we need more projects like Knepp. So they are saying that whatever happen or will happen, but we need more projects like this Knepp particular place. Okay, so I think the answer is quite straightforward, and you have about 10 seconds for this, and your time starts now. Okay, time's up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the answer first, and the answer is A, B, C, or D. Yes, B. So here it is. Let me write the answer here. This is our question 40. So why it is, so here it is clearly written, it really takes off. So it takes off meaning to say it becomes popular, increase in popularity. People will forget old stuff. So smaller projects will be forgotten. So here it is written, rewilding could replace traditional protection of rare species on small nature reserves. So smaller projects. So let me do this. Okay, small nature reserves, smaller projects, old stuff that on small nature reserves, they will forget it, they will say we don't need to do this. Okay, let's see why other options are not our answer. If you have marked any other option, it will be difficult to organize on large areas. No, they are saying that though we have to make some areas bigger for wildlife, we will have to do this. It's not like difficult or something like that. See, it has caused problems for certain types of animals and insects in Britain. No, those animals and or insects, they were like already in problem. It hasn't increased their problem. It hasn't created any new problems for them. It may trend lose quickly. Obviously, opposite is true because they are saying that it will become bigger. So and other projects will be forgotten. So B will be our answer. I hope it is clear. So this is how you should solve your reading. And let me check, have we marked all the answers? Yep, we have done that. I hope I have been able to make it clearer to you. This video is like helpful to understand, for you to understand how to solve these types of questions, how to attempt reading passage, and how to strategize, how to solve this particular type of passage if you encounter such kind of passage or such kind of question types in your reading exam. On that note, I just want to give some small information. If you are struggling with your writing and or speaking, like you are not able to get a band 7 or more in your writing and or speaking, you can enroll in our video course. We have made one of the most, if not the most thorough course on all the four modules, covering like from writing, reading, listening and speaking. So we have covered everything in detail. Like if I talk about reading and listening, we have covered all the question types in detail. And if I talk about speaking, we have covered all the three parts in detail: how to attempt three parts, how to expand your answers. We have talked about parameters in detail. We have talked about the strategies of part 1, part 2 and part 3 in detail, like what kind of things you can use, what kind of strategies you can use to expand your answers. Similarly, if I talk about task 2, writing task 2, for academic and GT both, we have discussed in detail all the types of task 2 samples, like of agree disagree, both views, problem solutions, advantage disadvantage or advantage outward disadvantage, cause and effects, maybe double question, like two-part essays. We have discussed all the 5 types of essays in detail, along with how to write introductions, effective introductions, body paragraphs, examples, what parameters teachers are looking at, how to secure band 7. If you are not able to secure band 7, what mistakes you may be doing. So we have covered all of that particular thing in depth. We have also covered task 1 in depth for both academic and GT. So if you're struggling with any of the modules, you can enroll in our video course or enroll in our any particular module that you are struggling with. The link is in my bio. You can go to our website and book your slot there. And if you want our writing correction service or one-to-one, book our one-to-one speaking slot, you can do that also. We will check your writing, we will take your speaking one-to-one and tell you about your weak areas, what you need to do to improve your weak areas, what where you are lagging, what you need to do, and what scores you are likely to achieve if you are like giving exam like right now with your current ability, current practice, and what you can do, or what if you want to get a certain band, what you need to do to achieve that particular thing. So that's it for this video, I guess, and I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care and goodbye.